It's Happy Hour again from Uptown New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limousine or just got out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you because that's New Orleans and this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common. Other than we're all New Orleanians in a bar. Today we're at the fabulous Wayfair on Ferret Street, which is a couple of blocks down from Napoleon Avenue. And they have a 3-hour happy hour here every single day from 3 to 6. Everything is half price, including the drinks and appetizers at the bar. They also do an awesome brunch on the weekends. That's Wayfair on Ferret Street. Otherwise, you can just stick around here for the next hour and have happy hour with us, which was brought to us today by Loyola pens. The only pens made from a fallen Audubon Park live oak tree like the one I'm holding in my hand. Look at this pen. Nobody else has a pen except me, so everyone's going to be using this pen today. This is a one-of-a-kind, expertly crafted, limited edition writing instrument that's available at nolapens.com. So go check that out. And thank you to Basics on Magazine Street near Jefferson Avenue. Basics underneath sells fine lingerie. And Basics Swim and Gym has a full range of fashion swimsuits, yoga, and workout clothes with style. At Namaste Couture, you can find one-of-a-kind natural gemstone jewelry, soulful-inspired clothes, and heart-fueled intentions. Designed by April Love, you can save 20% on all jewelry at Namaste Couture by entering Happy Hour in the coupon code at their website. Hangover Destroyer is the only all-natural product medically proven to prevent a hangover. If you go to hdestroyer.com and write Happy Hour in the coupon code, you get 30% off of Hangover Destroyer, so you too can seize the dawn. And thank you finally to the Positive Vibrations Foundation, who create and encourage community through the development and preservation of the arts, music, culture, and heritage. And if you'd like to go to patreon.com and search for It's New Orleans Happy Hour, you can become a member of our Patreon family. For as little as $1 a month, you can get free stuff, including those games. Did we ever give those games away, C-Rock? From that guy who gave us those free... It's like three-dimensional chess.
It's coming up.
Yeah, okay.
Stay tuned.
So if you still have a chance to win that thing on patreon.com. Thanks for being here, everybody. Alex Rawls is here.
Yes, I am.
The famous New Orleans music writer who I've been dying to meet you for 100 years.
NIU.
Finally, we pulled it off. I don't know why it's taken this long.
I have no idea either. Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It's great to meet you finally as well. And talking of music, Mia Borders is here.
Yeah.
Who's an actual musician.
I've seen it.
It's nice to see you again, Mia. It's been... I just looked before I came here today. The last time you were on Happy Hour was 2012.
That sounds right.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
I can't even believe we're still making the show after. And you're still going.
Yeah.
Strangely, you look younger than last time I saw you.
Good.
What have you been doing?
Just a lot of collagen protein. Just every day,
Collagen.
all day, every day.
I want to pick up where we left off from the last conversation. I didn't listen to it. And it was back in the day when we started making the shows back then, we didn't have like notes like we have now. Now we have a show page where you can see all the information about who was on the show. Mm-hmm. It just says, on the thing about you, it says, and Mia Borders told us about Marfan syndrome.
I don't know what that is.
You don't have that.
What?
I looked it up. It's something to do with...
Abraham Lincoln had it.
Did he?
Yeah.
C-Rock. How do you know that?
He got super long bones and skinny face.
What? I've never even heard of that.
Okay, so you don't have it.
That was
It's
incorrect.
on the notes. Maybe it's sort of wrong.
Maybe somebody else there was talking about it.
Maybe. I don't know. No, it says Mia Borders tells us about Marfan syndrome.
I mean, that was
so thank
back
God
in my
you don't
drinking
have that.
days, so who knows
That's
what
why
I
you
said.
quit drinking, because it was causing
just
Marfan syndrome?
telling people that I had different diseases.
Making you feel like a hypochondriac. And Hope Bird is here,
Yes,
who's a rock and roll photographer. Not only a rock and roll photographer.
But I would prefer it, yeah.
Lean in here so we hear.
Are you losing me? Yes.
Yes, there you go. But so you're a music
photographer, so portraits, and I prefer the live variety.
You like to shoot live. Have you shot Mia ever?
Not yet. Can we fix that?
Let's do
You
it.
can shoot her right now. Did you bring a camera?
I did not. The baby's at home.
Okay. So I see your website is called Gold Frame.
Yeah.
Which
It's a
is
really cute name that I came up with. It started as a project, an art project in early college, and then it turned into my branding. It's a little too cute, but it works.
It's a little
right? It's a little
It's a
cute.
bit too
so
cute
we could,
for a URL because it's FRA.me. The gold FRA.me.
Yeah, .com.
It looks good on.
Taken.
Was it thegоldframe.com?
.com, .org, .co. I mean, there's not a lot of real estate online anymore.
Well, that was clever of you to call it The gold FRA.me.
Yeah, but people
If
want
you're
to
looking at it-
instinctively put .com,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
no one can find me. It's
Oh, they
short
can't?
of that.
Yeah. I see in this bio that they sent me about you that says.
Oh man. Wait, which one? There's the
this
funny
is-
version.
It says third person funny. Yeah.
Oh, this is good.
It says here that it says you have a business model destined to fail.
Yes.
This is the full
Okay,
sentence. Despite a business model destined to fail, she shot the likes of Deacon John, Leonard Santelli, Walter Wolfman, and so on.
And so on.
Including
So
Tom
before that,
Petty.
it talks about and Tom. Tom.
So do you have photos of Tom Petty that are now worth a lot, seeing you died?
I mean, maybe that's part of the destined to fail. I have not licensed a lot of these things, or I'm under contract and can't license them, right? But
No. Do you know what that means, Alex, as a professional?
if I
Yeah.
if I were to,
I have no idea. What does that mean?
it's like music. It's just like music, actually.
Yeah.
Same laws.
If she shot Tom for somebody, someone hired her to do it.
Oh, then
They're
they own the
photos.
photo.
They own the
So
photos. Yeah.
who paid you to shoot Tom Petty?
Jazz Fest.
Jazz Fest.
Without saying too much, yeah, their contracts are pretty hardcore.
Pretty hard to fight Jazz Fest.
Nope, I will not
Okay, so
take that fight.
Alex, you're on the inside with everything. What's going on?
No, I am really seriously not.
You're not on the inside.
That I
Have
am
people
not on
been
anybody's
bugging
mailing
you?
list. So
You don't know
No.
what's going on at Jazz Fest with the Rolling Stones replacement then?
Yeah.
Because this is all new since we were here last week.
no, I have no idea. I have no idea what's actually happening. I have no. I can. There's a lot you can guess.
Okay, what are you guessing? Because you're on the inside of the sort of buzz, at least.
You figure at this point there is no other Rolling Stones.
Right.
There's nobody else, and so they're basically looking. I would assume they're looking for the best headliner they can, and then, every other stage was basically booked as a short day, but they have a proper headliner at the end of each of those.
Right.
Like at 4 o'clock, they had Mavis Staples, they have Ziggy Marley, they've got Tom Jones. And I'm blanking on who's on Jazz Stage, but also cool.
So that would
And so what
normally
the-
be a pretty good end to a Jazz Fest day.
Yeah, and so what will most likely happen, this actually is probably going to end up being good for New Orleans musicians
Yeah.
because they will
Hopefully.
likely end
Yeah.
up they need to hire 10 to 20
Yeah,
more
right.
acts.
Right, okay. To
And
fill
so,
out the day.
and they may end up picking up a few out-of-town bands, but at this short notice, they'll end up going heavily local.
See,
and
that's
so,
interesting.
and there's slots that would normally be local slots anyway.
Right.
And so the odds are that a number of local artists are going to end up getting a phone call pretty quick.
I hope so.
So finally, the Rolling Stones have done something good for local music
Exactly.
by getting heart surgery. Yeah, are you playing this year at Jazz Fest?
I am the very first day, very first slot on Gentilly stage.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You're on at like 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
it's. If I remember correctly, it's the same slot I had when I first played 10 years ago. So I'm.
You probably don't remember
You
correctly
own it.
because you don't even.
That's my
That was
jam.
when you had Marfan syndrome.
That is back then, back in those days. But I always loved playing Jazz Fest. I grew up here, so I grew up going there as a kid.
Right.
The first year that we played, I went way too hard in terms of gigging, so I wound up tearing my vocal cords in the middle of that set. So
Serious?
this will be a redo. Although they've
Wow.
all been
What's the
redos
recovery
ever
time on
since.
that?
Tearing my vocal cords. That's
6
a
weeks
sentence.
of silence.
Ugh. Which could be nice, right? Especially if
No.
you gig. Oh, I know. Okay.
It's also ironic who's
C-Rock.
closing out your stage on that day.
Alanis Morissette?
It's ironic.
You're
thank you,
on
Sarah.
point
Very
today.
There you go. Nice.
So
How
that's
about
the
a kid?
very first Thursday. That's their special extra day for locals only. That could be the best day to be there, actually.
I hope so.
Yeah, 11 o'clock in the morning.
We'll
so what
see.
time do you have to show up there?
10 o'clock, which is
Pretty weird.
for singing, that means I probably have to get up around 8 to start warming up,
Warming up.
and to not sound froggy. But
What do you do when you have to come here today and you have to play a couple of songs during the course? Do you have to spend an hour at home warming up before you get here?
I usually throw my my warm up on when I'm getting ready or like in the shower, and then when I'm getting dressed. So
What's a warm up? What do you do? Like
vocalizations.
Me, me,
Me, ma, 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 ma. And
You-
then you just keep going up, and then you do your vowels, and
okay, what do you do? What are your vowels?
Done.
Son?
Do this.
it's not actually A-I-O-U, it's A-E, eh.
This is by yourself in the shower. You're doing.
Oh yeah, I live alone, thank God. So
Neighboring walls?
No.
Walls with the...
no.
And you live just around here somewhere.
Yeah, on the other side of Napoleon.
Okay, and you grew up uptown as well, right? So you
Yeah,
haven't
in that
moved
same
very
house.
far. You live in the same house you grew up in?
Wow.
I do.
Is anyone
That's
else still
special.
there, or have you? No, you got rid of everyone else by the sound.
I kicked them all out. No, I own it now. My grandmother passed away in September, so
okay.
it's very weird
sad.
that it's my
Yeah.
house.
So you're because your mom died like a long time ago. I remember, right? When you
Yeah,
were
I
a
was
kid.
6. Mhm.
Yeah, you were 6. Wow. So your grandmother brought you up.
Yeah, my dad's mom.
So you're totally all alone in the world now. That's it.
Wow. That's nice.
So apart from us,
Interestingly enough,
we're your only friends.
yeah,
now.
interestingly enough, my therapist and I were talking about that exact same thing yesterday. So
That is a pretty weird thing to be.
yeah, I mean,
position
my
to be in.
dad's around, my brother's around, and he's got a wife and a couple kids. And
Okay, so that's not.
yeah. I
Well, how
hang
come
out with people.
How come he did? How come? How come he didn't get the house then?
He got part of it, but he is not as invested, I think, as I am. So
And what?
I'm starting repairs. It's an old house.
Oh, he
so
doesn't want to chip in and pay anything.
I'm-
Is he part owner of it?
He is, yeah.
Oh, he needs to chip in something. Then,
I mean,
right?
he's about
Well,
to be 70, so I just
Your
got to
bro-
fix it up for.
Your brother is.
No, my dad is 70.
I was going to say your brother.
My brother is not 70.
That would have been an interesting, different conversation
Yeah.
there.
Whoa.
And your brother's called Che after Che Guevara, as
He
I
is.
recall.
My God, you have the
Wow.
memory.
Some
I don't have
research,
much else to
man.
think about.
Nice.
Just
me and my
this is all I
brother?
did. Just you and your brother in that house on Napoleon Avenue.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you on the parade route? That's the main question.
Just around the corner from the parade route.
Okay, that's good.
So,
So that's
yeah,
what. So you probably are sitting on a good deal of, real estate here. Now.
I guess so. I mean, with everything that happened down Ferret, it's
Yeah,
disorienting.
you could quit work and just like Airbnb your house out.
Ugh, we'll see.
Well, that's
figure
good.
something
Well, talking
out.
of work, you have a new record out.
Yeah.
Okay, Alex, this is where you take over. You're a professional
Good.
music interviewer.
Oh, no, I was
after
looking
all.
for how you do it. But
I'm waiting for you to carry the baton here.
no, so
Baton.
No, this is good. I didn't. So, so tell me about it.
Oh my God.
That's
I
close.
feel like
That's
I
good.
am.
Close up.
That's how you do it?
Close up.
Okay.
I am monopolizing this
Yeah.
conversation. Okay.
Good.
I'm glad I
Now
took
we're gonna-
extra anxiety meds. Here we go.
We're going to give you like 1 minute to talk, and then we're going to make you play a song.
Perfect.
And then we'll be on form.
I have a new EP out. It's called Good Side of Bad. That was something that my brother said. He was talking about a cold and how he was on the good side of bad of it. And it lined up with where I was in my life, just losing my grandmother and then sort of writing my way out of it. So, yeah, it's 6 songs, 5 originals, 1 cover that people harassed me about recording.
Which
And,
is?
Voodoo by Alan Stone.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Yeah, we performed it a couple times, and people were like, "Where is it?" I was like, "It's on his record. Go get it." I don't want to pay him, so but I did.
See, I'm always interested in that because I remember at one point I recently, a couple of years ago, I was talking with Sophie Lee, and she had just released a new record, and I loved her songs on it, and then halfway through it switches into Frenchman Street Greatest Hits, and I was kind of like, what happened? And she was basically was like, I can sing my songs, I can sing my songs, I can sing my songs, and if I do, it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. People come to me on the break and say, which one has that song? And it's like, and wherever that song is where they go.
Yeah.
And so it became a matter of when she was thinking about her record, that if you are thinking about actually selling any of them rather than having them as sort of wall covering for the future, and sooner or later you end up putting on something that is not what you wanted there. And it was like, and so in this case, in my mind, it was one of the least interesting things on the record because I really loved where her songwriting was, but that song was the one that was going to sell the record, sell songs on a break. And I thought that was a really interesting insight into what happens. And-
Yeah, it's definitely something to consider. It's why I choose the covers that I choose.
Right.
I play less covers than I did when I was starting out because I've just been writing constantly for 13 years. But it's the same sort of thing. Use Me was the first cover that we ever played, and people really liked our version, so we put it on a record. And I said that was the last cover I was going to record because it's kind of a pain in the ass to have to re-up your license, and then streaming started, and yeah.
How
But
does that work for streaming? Sorry, Alex, your question.
Sorry, but the other thing I was going to say about that is that also has to be weird to realize here's how many songs I wrote and how many songs I'm super proud of and that I've created. And people go, oh, I love those. No, where's that? No, are you going to play this song? Are you going to play the Alan Stone song? It's like, it's like, that's a slap.
Well, interestingly enough, it's a bonus track on one of his records, so very few people actually recognize it as an Alan Stone tune. And it's called Voodoo, and why would a dude from the Pacific Northwest be singing about voodoo? So
there's a lot of Alan Stone that are questioned. So
I love that little dude.
Yeah, so do I. But
like a baby Daryl Hall. Come on.
Do you know him, Hope? Alan Stone?
I do not.
I've
Go
never
play.
heard of
We're
him
about to
either.
play. You're about to play Voodoo for us, or
No, play one of his.
No.
I'm not
Don't
paying
play a
for
song
that
written by
again.
somebody else. That would be.
or hum it for me.
oh no, that's your revenge on Grant for asking questions you don't want to do. It's like, okay, now you have to go and
then
pay.
we have to
ASCAP.
fight.
You're
the
right.
It's
license.
available to
Yeah.
stream at all your
can't
favorite
do that.
streaming sites.
There we go.
All right, so Mia, pick up the guitar here.
All
and
right,
let's
Here we
do
go.
something, and then
I love your case.
Chat amongst yourselves.
okay, when we come back, we're going to talk about Christmas.
Excellent.
Okay.
Before July.
Hey, look at this groovy
I'm
looking.
Christmas all year round.
Yeah, Alex has a podcast about Christmas.
I
For
did
real.
not.
Yes.
Shoot.
Yeah.
We can play next year.
That's why he looks a
Without-
little bit like Santa.
Yeah, that's.
Hey, Grant.
Yes, see right.
Before Mia plays, I
Yes.
have to read a comment from a live watcher.
Oh,
Okay.
sweet Jesus.
She says, "Are you okay? I'm a legally blind brain tumor survivor. Mia's music keeps me going on my
Was
worst
Shani?
days. Yeah,
Shane.
Wow.
a friend.
She reached out.
Yeah,
So that's awesome, man. What
Oh,
else did
that
she
is
say?
nice.
that was it. But
Oh. Shout out to Shani.
yeah,
All right.
I'll see you at
Thanks,
Jazz
Sierra.
Fest.
All right. Oh, we have to. Hey, Alex.
Yeah. Gotcha.
All right.
Okay, Mia, what are you going to
Oh,
play?
there's
You
the
have a
edge.
different tattoo since I saw you last, I noticed.
Probably got about 8 or 9 different tattoos since
What's
the
this
last
little
time.
thing on your hand here, the little one?
This is a medieval symbol for the Virgin Mary.
Whoa.
Both my grandmothers were huge fans of her work, so I went and did that.
What is the Virgin Mary's symbol in medieval times? What actually is that?
I don't really. I think it's some sort of crown, and then there's a little bit of the Trinity involved, and then
Okay.
yeah. So if you look at certain Catholic organizations
Yeah.
have calenders,
Right, you do
and
see
whenever
that.
there's a Marian holiday, that's how they indicate it.
Okay.
kind of looks like what they put in the middle of your pizza when they deliver it.
That separates the.
I was thinking it's her superhero symbol. It's like Virgin Mary in Endgame.
Yes.
Okay, Mia, what is it? What are you playing?
I gotta take the headphones off. Sorry.
Okay. It's going to mess up your whole look now.
Just not
Okay.
graceful at all. Can you hear me? Am I
Yes,
good? All
yes,
right.
perfect.
This is the first single from the new EP. It's called Plastic Love. All right. Gotta back up a little
Okay.
bit too. Okay. First one in, last one out of this love affair. 6 long years of endless tears is finally clear. Love is blind, and so unkind when you realize the one you hold, so do you go, but it's all lies. You gave me plastic love, and such a tragic love, and I'm lost in shame, with only me to blame. How many times did I tell myself, get out of this hell and don't take no plastic love? Time will tell if I wish you well, but we ain't there. My poor heart ripped apart, I guess love ain't fair. I could have gone trust love I don't feel worthy of, and it's a crying shame. Yeah, yeah. You gave me plastic love, and such a tragic love, and I'm lost in shame, with only me to blame. How many times did I tell myself, get out of this hell and don't take no plastic love? Bop boom bop boom boom bop, bop boom boom bop, bop boom bop boom boom bop, bop boom boom bop, bop boom bop boom boom bop, bop boom boom bop, bop boom bop boom boom bop, bop boom boom bop. Bop boom bop boom boom bop 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 bop. Bop boom bop boom boom bop, bop boom boom bop. You gave me plastic love, and such a tragic love, and now I'm lost in shame, 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 with only me to blame, 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 blame. How many times did I tell myself, get out of this hell and don't take no plastic love? Love, 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 love,
Mia Porter's. That is great. I can just hear that at Jazz Fest, can't you, Alex?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't wait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's going to be a very popular song. Hey, listen, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Christmas,
Yes.
Yes.
24/7.
That,
We'll be right back
Something
with
like
Happy Hour. And we're back with Alex Rawls, Mia.
It's finally fall and the perfect time for a total beauty refresh at Macy's VIP sale. With an extra 15% off coupon for the skincare, fragrances, and makeup that rarely go on sale. New arrivals from MAC, Estee Lauder, and more make it fun to update your routine, add a new color palette, or just treat yourself. And with over 250 fragrances from Calvin Klein, Hugo Boss, and more, finding a new signature scent is easy. And the perks don't stop. Get benefits no matter how you pay with Macy's Star Rewards. Savings off regular and sale prices. Exclusions apply.
Right now, you can get both Sprint's unlimited plan and the all-new Samsung Galaxy S10 included for just $35 per month per line for 5 lines. All you need is approved credit and an 18-month lease. No trade-in required. Visit a Sprint store, sprint.com, or call 800-SPRINT-1.
S10 128 gigabyte, $10 a month, up to 2050 month credit applied, then 2 bills are canceled early, may balance due, limited basic up to 930/20, pay $32 per month per line, while paid data before organization to congestion speed maximum 0 stores and restrictions apply.
Borders and Hope Bird and Happy Hour. And Alex, I wanted to talk to you about your new podcast, which is called The 12 Songs of Christmas. Is that correct?
yes, it is.
And what exactly, is it 12 episodes about Christmas songs?
It started because I've been writing about Christmas music in wherever I've been for about the last 15 or so years.
Right.
And I've always been fascinated because to me, Christmas music, far more than like anything nostalgia or anything about the season, Christmas music always seemed to be interesting because I always thought it was a musician's challenge. How do you take this very familiar body of music, how do you take these songs and give them a reason to exist? And so as a musician, the challenge is, what do you do with that? And if you're a songwriter, how do you move into this very familiar, very specific time period and sort of emotional set and image set, and how do you write something that needs to exist?
Okay, now as a music writer yourself, you've spent your life writing about music. Mm-hmm. So what made you suddenly decide not to write about this, but to do a podcast about it?
I've been writing about it, and the title came from, I actually have a book that is trying to find a home.
Ah, you have a book.
Where I have been talking to people about songs and the idea of using a song as a way to open up some element of Christmas and sort of how these songs live in our culture, how Christmas lives in our culture, and sort of there's a lot in there. And basically I was sort of have talked to enough people and had enough interesting conversations that it seemed like kind of the natural next place to go with these conversations was to get them into the world, and rather than to sort of sit on them.
Are these interviews you did for the book? Anyway,
they're interviews I did. Some of them for the book, some of them, and then some of them are just for now.
Right.
And some of them are preparing for the future. I'm actually on Friday. I'm interviewing Thomas Lauderdale from Pink Flamingo. Not Pink Flamingo, Pink Martini. I'm sorry, which is a modern lounge band,
right,
from San Francisco, and he has, and I'm talking to him specifically about White Christmas, because he's done 2 versions of White Christmas, one of which has a singer who he identifies as the Barbra Streisand of Japan, and has this amazing woman singing White Christmas in Japanese.
Well, that's cool right there in itself.
It's and so
but is this sort of an attempt, like Mia's talking about putting classics or covers on a CD? Is this the sort of thing to do a thing about Christmas in an attempt to get people to buy this every Christmas? Or listen to it every Christmas, as it's perennial at least?
Well, I've had, I figured let's have this conversation to keep the conversation going, partly because I think trying to start a podcast every October and feels like and running it through Christmas feels like a very uphill battle.
Right.
And I would rather just keep it going and see if over the course of the year we just keep finding people, and then as we get back towards the Christmas season, then we start to both draw more attention and also in some ways I think try to draw additional attention to interviews that already exist. And
the good thing about a podcast, unlike a book, is that there's no one else to convince. If you want to do it, you just do it.
Exactly right. Yeah, there was only person I had to actually sort of convince was Thomas back here, who helped me sort of work through a whole bunch of technical things that I actually threw out in about the first 3 weeks and realized it's like we figured out the hardest way. And the thing was, to be fair to Thomas, is I think I figured out the hardest way to do things, and he said, if that's the way you want to go. And then I basically discovered what he probably already knew, which was that I was making work for myself and making things all far more difficult than necessary.
So what do? You drag people over to your place and you stick a couple of mics on the table and you make them play Christmas music?
Usually a lot of it is phone, because that's kind of where I can get them right now. My favorite was I actually went down to Tipitina's when Robert Earl Keen was playing, and I got Robert Earl Keen before his show, and my wife was so happy that I was going to go meet Robert Earl Keen to do this that she made Christmas cookies for me to take.
That's the way to do it. Now, Hope, you're an expert at getting backstage into these.
I have not thought of Christmas cookies, though. That is one I will
what
consider.
method do you use normally?
Come on, man. Just let me back there. No, usually I know someone, or just wave the camera around. That works more often than not.
Does that work? So do you go to shows when you're not hired to shoot, just to show up?
I have. Let's see. I think Leo Nicentelli played a tribute show, a Meters tribute show at Tipitina's, and I was able to get through that one. John was hanging out in the green room.
Could you make a living out of that? I mean, could you take photos and then sell them after you've taken them? Does anyone want a photo of Leo Nicentelli?
Not a whole lot living in that anymore.
Yeah.
Because if there were, I'd be traveling over the world, right? Yeah.
Well, then why are you taking a photo of Leo Nicentelli, other than he's a great musician?
He wanted the photos after the fact,
Okay.
so that was nice. But
so did he pay you for them?
no, it was more like, I'm going to share these, and I'll tag you. Like, okay, well, there's that battle.
This is why this is a business model destined to fail.
It's a good thing. Because I don't. Licensing locally not very strong, but or in general, not very strong.
But
if it were, like I would travel.
But would you go to like the Robert Earl King gig at Tips or something, and
that'd be great,
and just shoot there?
Present cookies and I mean, ideally they would hire me to do photos, and then they could like.
No one's going to stop you paying to get into a gig and shooting it, or are they?
Well, the camera tips off. Like there's like layers of security.
What is that?
But everyone else has got
everybody's
got a phone that they're holding up and taking photos at a gig.
Yeah, something's a little more. Where's Jill?
Do people stop you just because you've got a real camera?
Yes.
Grant,
Big time.
C-Rock.
you can't bring detachable lenses.
Yes.
You're not allowed
to.
Or like
Okay.
Jazz Fest, you know how they yell at the gate?
Right.
It's like no cameras allowed, no flash photography, no detachable
But every
lens.
single person is shooting
I know-
stuff on
yeah.
their phone.
Which is
and
also
that's
Some
the
gigs
reason
you-
why it's
terrible.
destined
What is
to
that
fail.
like? Well, actually,
Everyone's a
Mia, what is that like
photographer now.
looking at that every night?
I've gotten over it if there isn't a flash, but there are the occasional people who are taking video with a flash, and it's like working with
unpleasant.
somebody pointing a flashlight at your face.
Yeah, right.
So it's gotten to the point that my bassist, Jesse Morrow, shout out, will stop playing, turn his flashlight on, and just hold it in their
wow.
face. And he's like, "Do you like it?" And they never get it. They're
That's
like,
pretty hardcore.
Great,
Yeah.
great.
"Yeah,
That is pretty
it's really-
hardcore.
that would work.
yeah."
But
But
I've been to gigs. Alex, you must go to. Do you go to a lot of gigs?
I go to enough gigs. Yeah.
What? How did you start writing about music? What came first, writing, or were you interested in music? Did you play music first?
No, I didn't play. I mean, I have played music.
Yeah.
Not very well.
What do you play?
I play guitar, and I am currently sort of teaching myself ukulele
Nice.
for my daughter over there, and I'm
Kids
very
love that.
happy because she can start to play that. And I'm happy that the other day I taught myself a song from Steven Universe, cartoon I watched with my daughter. Steven Universe rocks, I
I've
must say.
never heard of Steven Universe.
not.
It's on Cartoon Network, and it
But-
kills. It is.
Mia,
enough
do you know that
godchildren.
one?
I don't. My nieces and nephews are very into like Paw Patrol right now. They're 4 and under, so that's
Okay.
Steer them towards Steven. Steven is great.
Steven Universe.
Universe.
Steven
Yeah.
Universe.
I mean,
What-
they pretty much
Okay.
watch anything you put on.
Yeah.
It's like, what's
Yeah.
happening? So, yeah.
Yeah, we started when Clara was about three and a half on Steven, and
What's it about? In one word.
it is about in one word.
In one word.
Excellent.
Is it about the universe?
It is a boy who is being raised basically by 3 alien superheroes, and the sort of the gender politics and are great. The sort of the aesthetic is really very cool, very progressive, and none of it is obviously any of that. When you watch
Right.
it is the story of a little boy and 3 superheroes who go have adventures.
And where's it set? On Earth somewhere, or in some sort
Yes,
of nebulous?
set on Earth. It eventually, by the late seasons, it does go into space.
Right.
But that takes a long time. It's really about a little boy in a small town who's being raised by
By
3
aliens.
alien superheroes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who
it's
are
very cool.
Are they his parents? Ostensibly of some sort? or
Oh,
are
this
they
is all
his
complicated.
equals?
Now, it's
Now
like I
we
say,
have to- now we have to watch it.
one of the things I
Like
like
3
about
men
it,
and a baby, but aliens.
exactly. And,
Okay.
and the great thing is that they are. It's they're all the aliens are all women, and that they have
I like
all
this.
all different body shapes, all different types, very different looks, and it's it ends up being this incredibly long, complicated story, but it world builds so slowly that you don't realize until you're about a season in how much story you actually know. And what's been interesting is I'll have grandparents will come, and what we do is we just simply at bedtime we'll watch a few of them, and we just go from the beginning to end. And then when there are more, that we watch those at the end, and then when we finish them all, we start again. And so the grandparents will come here, and they will, whenever they get in, they can see. And if they come in to see early on in the show, they can sit down and they can enjoy it. But they get there late in the show, and they have absolutely no idea what's going on, and it's just completely baffling. And I realize I can't even start to tell you, because it would take the length of this show for me to get you up to speed.
Why don't you write
invested.
something like this based on Christmas songs?
Because world building is not a me thing at all.
Really?
No.
But do you smoke a lot of weed?
No, not at all.
Oh, this is what you need to start doing.
This is how we
No.
can.
Yeah, if you
Let's
start
fix
smoking
that.
weed and you think about this Christmas
No.
idea,
It'll
Well,
come together.
I have
It
to
will.
tell you that
Alien Christmas.
I can't even think when the last time I smoked weed was, because every time I smoked weed, I wanted to lay down and do nothing. It didn't make me want to
That's
read,
nothing
it made me
wrong
want to
with
do
that.
nothing.
It's gotten
Pretty much
way
why
crazier.
do that.
Whoa.
Well,
but it's almost legal now. But that
Almost.
sounds like a real
Decriminalized
tripped out idea. Like if you came up with some sort of kids-based story based around Christmas songs and worked in sort of other universes and superheroes and something, You know what I'm saying?
It would be on trend, that is for sure.
Yeah, I think you could do it.
No, that's
Believe in yourself.
yeah.
Well, what do you do all day? Do you write all day? I mean, you have this website called My Spilt Milk.
Yes.
Which I've been reading for years.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting that you do all this great work, and it's outside of the mainstream. It's outside of the sort of NOLA.coms and these music papers, Offbeat, and all that. You've worked for all these people.
Yes.
But have you chosen to step outside of all that now, or?
Short answer is yes.
Right.
There was a point when I decided I wanted to do My Spilt Milk that I realized two things. One of which was, at the time I was at Offbeat, and Jan wanted the magazine to be one thing, which I respected, but that wasn't entirely what I wanted to be. And at the same time, I was getting a pretty clear idea about what I did want to make. And it was at a point when, the internet was becoming easier and easier to move into.
Right.
And I also realized that if I was going to have a future, the best bet was I was going to make my own future. That that fewer and fewer places, fewer and fewer alt weeklies, etc., were first off surviving, and then they weren't looking for someone in their 40s or 50s to be their music writer.
Right.
And so, the one way to make sure there was a place for me was to make it myself.
So how do you get paid with My Spilt Milk? Do you have sponsors and you sell advertising?
Advertising and right now advertising.
All right. So you have to hustle that yourself, or do you have a business partner?
No, it's me. I'm the
You're
hustle
doing
right now.
everything.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
And you're also teaching at Loyola, right?
And I am teaching at Loyola this semester.
You know
Yeah.
Martha Elgira?
Yes.
She was trying to connect me with you to. We were going to sit in on your class and we were going to sit in on your class
Oh.
and be the weirdo kids in the back
Well,
taking notes.
Martha took the first month of the class, and then basically her life got on top of her, and she needed to
She's a busy gal.
jump out. But
What are you
what
teaching
is the
at
class?
Loyola? Yeah.
teaching a class in writing for music industry.
Okay.
So
You guys want to go? Let's go.
I teach in the
This
pop
is just a session.
department, so
in the which?
in the pop department.
Oh, cool. Good
Yeah.
for you.
You teach.
Yeah.
What do you teach? Music?
Yeah, they gave me an ensemble.
What does
Which
that
is
mean?
frightening. It's just a band of students. Like we have a drummer, bassist, keyboard player, and they pick songs. Some are interesting.
And you. and what do? You teach them.
I
you arrange
essentially
the music?
teach them how to be productive band members, be respectful of one another, how to lead when it's your song that's up.
Wow. Is this part of the
This is
music
great.
business school, or just?
No, they
part
have
of
a relatively new popular and commercial music program, which I definitely would have majored in had it been there when I was a student.
And who taught you all this stuff? Did you just learn it?
Life.
You just
School of
drank,
Hard Knocks.
you
That's
drank
right.
copiously and played in a rock and roll
Pretty
band.
much, man.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I majored in English Lit when I was at Loyola, so I filled all of my electives with music business courses. But in terms of how to be a band leader, that was just stuff that I picked up on the fly. My original band members were all my brother's age, so they're 10 to 15 years older than I am, and so they'd done all that stuff, and they were, very encouraging of me taking the reins. But a lot of it I had to learn on my own, and so I'm trying to help the next
That's pretty
generation.
Cool. So you have to be in town for that, obviously.
Yeah, Tuesday, Thursday, but Loyola is pretty cool about me going on tour and subbing out to people. So
Yeah. Hope you need to get a job at Loyola, obviously.
Come on.
I
What could you
so many
teach?
people-
We
well, so
are
many people-
hiring.
So many people ask for me to teach photography, and I'm just like, I just don't want to do that.
I don't know if we have a music photography class. We should. Call Martha. Tell her I said that.
Also, that we can take
And
the
John.
class over to Tipitina's and sneak in. I'll teach them how to sneak in.
That would
I mean,
be the
we have
first
a-
Make
lesson.
cookies.
We have a showcase at the end of the semester at Tipitina's. We need people to take pictures.
Okay.
But, Alex, it's,
all right.
it's almost cruel teaching these kids how to be music writers. What are they all going to do?
Well, I told them on the first day.
Yeah.
I told them on the first day. I said,
Justin
how many of you are aspiring musicians? And I said, and like 3/4 of the class. And I said, and you're here, right? And I said, so you picked 2 ways to not get paid.
Yeah, right.
What's your plan B?
Yeah. So it was
Or
like,
C
if you could
or
pick up a
D.
camera, you could find 3 ways to not
Yeah.
get paid.
But seriously, though, you had to find your own career. You had to go out and do this yourself because all these, you just said, all these
Yeah.
people are closing down, and we know that people are paying less and less for
Right.
writing. So what are all these suckers going to do after they graduate?
Well, same things we did. They're gonna hustle. They're gonna hustle, or they're gonna
wait tables.
Either they're gonna hustle, they're gonna wait tables, or they're
Take
gonna
that
move
marching
on and they're gonna
job.
put all this stuff down. And this is, and which is really okay. How many? Is anybody at the table doing what you thought you were going to do in college when you went into college?
Hope, were you? What did you think you were going to do?
I had no idea what I was
Yeah.
You had no
I
idea
dropped out
at
and then
all?
went back. Yeah.
Did you go to school here?
I finished school here, yes. I went to UNO in arts administration. So I knew, I can always fall back on that, right? And,
Right.
and I can certainly...
Yeah, 'cause the arts need administrating.
Right, yeah. Here they do.
This is another
Oh, you're
interesting
going to
thing it
bring up
says
the
about you.
broke
Oh,
musician.
yes. Bring the bio
Yeah,
back.
it says what prompted her professional art career was helping and photographing broke-ass musicians, a demographic she should know well. She's dated enough
Wait
of
for
them.
it. There you go.
So
That was
that's
the
how I
singer.
first met you. You were John Lacey's girlfriend when I first met
Yes,
you.
John. I actually thought about inviting him today, but I feel like he would have just sabotaged
I
the thing
thought that was. He's such a great guy and he's a great musician.
Yeah,
and then the first
yes.
time I met him, you were with him. I'm like, man, this guy's got it all. He's a great musician. He's got a great band. And he's got this gorgeous young girlfriend. And then, but what happened?
I think the same day I showed up in a smock covered in paint too. I was like,
That might have
this
been.
is
I can't remember what you were wearing exactly.
It was good
So
times.
so you just dated for a while and that's
Well,
all
that's
over.
the running joke between us. Like, I asked you enough to help me out, and you did, and so and it became a thing. What is now my shooting and design thing called the Golden Frame. So,
That was through John?
John and anyone associated with John, which is most of New Orleans.
Okay. So who else have you
that
dated?
needed
What other musicians have you dated?
Oh, Grant, we're not
I
going
didn't,
there.
It's in your
I didn't
bio.
make this up. It's right
I
here.
mean, you kind of opened that
Okay,
door.
so I did
You
like the
really
peach.
kind of made my
I did
class.
the peach.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't let Alex read that.
Do
There's
you,
like the
do you
PG
have a, like
bio
a
and
lesson
then
on
the
how to
funny-
write a bio?
Yeah, one of the things we did a section on bios, and one of the things we talked about, actually, this one actually kind of killed because I
missed this
had a
class,
woman, Tracy Thomas, who used to be do PR for Drive-By Truckers and is currently Jason Isbell's manager and
Oh,
St.
wow.
Paul and the Broken Bones
Yeah,
manager.
nice.
And so she was in town. She was going to ride in Muses and with a friend. And so she's like, yeah, I said, you want to talk to my class? And she's like, okay. So she came in, and one of the things we talked about is that anything that's in your bio is something you should be able to talk about
On radio
and,
show?
and move your shit forward.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
So who else we need?
So, yeah.
names.
Yes. And I'll tell you something else about bios as well, that they end up everywhere.
John
Oh,
listening?
God,
John
yes.
listening?
This stuff that you think you just sent to me,
It's gonna get copied
it
and
ends
pasted.
up all over the internet, and you can never
Good.
shake it up.
Again, business model destined to fail. Right?
Well, it's funny. That's
train
funny.
wreck
I mean,
of-
all of it's funny.
no,
It's
yeah.
interesting, but you think it says that you've dated all these musicians, so everybody wants to know
I dated
who they
enough
are.
of them.
Enough is
Okay.
one enough? Because I would say one is enough.
One is enough.
One is actually
that's a
enough.
good- see, that's a
We
good-
There's a couple
That's
other.
a good
they
answer.
they.
Anyway,
We're
well,
not. I'm not naming
We're
my
monsters.
all right, we're not going to make
No,
you go any
mom
further.
would be proud.
Where are you from? Where is your mom?
I hail from the Carolinas. I was born in South Carolina. I grew up in Western North Carolina. Those beautiful Appalachian Mountains.
So that's southwest and north. What's
that was
East
about-
Carolina like? Is
They
there
have
such a
great
thing?
barbecue. Yes, there is a thing
There-
actually.
I don't know anything about Carolinas. Do you guys?
It's
No.
beautiful, cleaner
little
air.
bit.
We like our moonshine. We like our barbecue. That's about
Okay.
it. We like our drugs,
Right.
pot. We like our. It's not
Pot,
legal there
moonshine,
either,
and
but
barbecue.
yeah, I mean we're
I
cool
don't hear.
people
I
to
don't
hang
hear
out.
any reason to leave at this point. What made you leave?
Well, so I was actually touring quite a bit. This is 8 or so years ago. I was touring the country. I used to be in events. Probably what inspired this direction, and I think I just got tired. And you've all heard this story before. Someone invited me down to New Orleans, and what turned into like 2 days. Turned into like 2 weeks of hanging out, having fun, and then a month later, I moved out. What just happened?
Nice.
Holy.
That's a pretty common story.
And I
Alex,
just
where-
I didn't want to tour anymore. I didn't want to tour. and
Where
I
did you
got
come
tired.
from originally?
I was a kid in Houston, and I went through my high school and undergrad years in Hamilton and Toronto in Southern Ontario.
Right.
And then I moved down here from there.
So that was a long time ago.
Yes.
Back when Jazz Fest was like $5 or something.
No.
We
No.
can walk up straight to Stevie Ray Vaughan and take his picture.
Hey, listen, we'll take another quick break, and when we come back, Mia Borders is going to play another song. What song are you going to play?
I think since I can curse, I'm going to do Goddamn.
Yeah.
God damn, I like that
Goddamn
song
right.
too. Off the new EP, which is called The
Good Side of
Bad. This is Happy Hour. We'll be right back. And we're back on Happy Hour with my guests, Alex Rawls, Mia Borders, and Hope Bird. And Mia's going to play us a song off her new EP. It's an EP, right?
Your home is important. That's why Geico helps make it easy to save on condo insurance. Because home is more than just a place. Home is where you took minimalism too far because there's only one chair in your entire condo and your only entertainment is one card. Not even a deck of cards, but a single card. And all your guests have to share one plate and one fork, but you're convinced that less stuff means more freedom. The Geico Insurance Agency could help protect the overly minimalist broom closet you call home. Call Geico and see how easy it is to switch and save on condo insurance.
Ah, the copperhead snake. It hisses before attacking. But that's not a copperhead. That's the Sullivan's RV freshwater tank overflowing into their black one, which is backing into their vent pipe, making for a very different kind of attack. One that arrives just in time for taco night. It's wild out there. When it gets too wild, Progressive has your RV covered. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
The Good Side
She
of
said
Bad.
EP.
EP.
And this is a song called God Damn, which I think we're allowed to say.
All right. That'll work. Whether he's standing tall or down on his knees, he gives me love and trust and joy and sympathy. He is a kind man, empathetic and strong, and I'm gonna love him just as long as my life is long. Well, goddamn, that's a mighty fine man. Anything I want, he sure enough can. Gonna take him by the hand, tell everybody about my strong black man. Whenever I'm down and out, my baby's there for me. He is the light, the only way that I can see. So when he needs me, you best believe I'm there, telling the world just how much I'll always care. Goddamn, that's a mighty fine man. Anything I want, he sure enough can. Gonna take him by the hand, tell everybody about my strong black man. The world is so dark, the world is so cold. Everywhere I turn, the haters get bold. The news is so bleak, war in these streets. I just want my men to come home to me. Gotta fight every day, keep hate at bay. Take those dark thoughts and just push them away. Love is the truth, my man is the proof. Not every good person looks just like you do. Goddamn, that's a mighty fine man. Anything I want, he sure enough can. Gonna take him by the hand, tell everybody about my strong black man. Goddamn, that's a mighty fine man. Anything I want, he sure enough can. Gonna take him by the hand, tell everybody about my strong black man.
Okay. Now, Alex,
Goddamn right.
how many questions have you got about that one, Alex?
I don't ask any questions right after the song.
You don't?
Right, just gotta
What do? You wait
let
for
it
it to
sit.
percolate?
Yeah. I want to think about it. I also.
Oh, God, I never thought
I like the
about
moment.
thinking
And
about
also, the song ought to live for a little bit. I think the performance ought to live for a little
Let
bit.
it breathe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I have the opposite technique.
Just
I only have like a bunch
That's
of
why
good
you have this
questions.
show.
Yeah. So who is the mighty fine black man who we're talking about?
Yeah, let's
Oh
talk
my
about
God.
boyfriends.
Cedric Richmond.
Not even. Okay. I'll take that.
Is it a Cedric Richmond re-election campaign?
It's there was a guy who worked at Costco. I saw him. I was shopping with my brother, and I said, "God damn, he's fine." And my brother said, "Ew, you're gross." Because I was probably making lewd gestures or something. I don't know. And then
I wasn't thinking
Who's your
any of
brother?
this at all.
Brothers?
I thought this
no,
was
not
a
at all.
real love song about a real person.
Not at all.
This is just all fiction.
Costco love.
He no
Is there
longer
some-
works at Costco. I think it's because I've been telling this story across the country.
If you're listening.
So do you introduce the song with this story about I met a guy at Costco?
Sometimes. I didn't even meet him.
Love
He
this.
asked if
Is
he
this a
could help
fantasy?
put
I love
water
this.
in my cart, and I was being all tough and strong, and I was like, I got it, thank you. And then I was like, wait, you were beautiful.
Well, so this is a complete fantasy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I would say-
I thought this was like a love song to
You
some
write a
guy.
song, right?
I mean, in general, it started off as me writing about this fine black dude that I saw at Costco, because I'm thirsty. That's another song on the EP.
Right.
It's a different story altogether. But then it sort of grew into this love song for black men in general. You know, there's been a lot of hard stuff coming up in the news, especially when I was writing this EP last year, and so I felt like I wanted to write a song for a particular community that's being marginalized right now. So, and good-looking dudes, man. Come on, with that chocolate.
Well, young black men have been marginalized for a long time, and that's nothing
Yeah.
new about that.
Well, you
Going
know,
back to the
now
history
now white people are paying attention, which
Oh,
is
no, you
the
can't.
huge part about
Right.
it. So, yeah, just made
Well,
it weird.
there's plenty of songs by white men about fine-looking women,
Sure, yeah.
so it's not that unusual to have a song about a fine-looking person.
No,
It's
I
just
mean
a
I'm all
switch.
about objectifying men in songs and flipping that script
Right.
all day,
About
every
that.
day.
About that.
Objectifying men at my shows. There was another fine black dude at my Peaches in store, and I asked somebody to tackle him for me, but I didn't. Again,
What's
thirsty.
it like? See, when
Be me aboard
when
security.
when women go to see guys
that.
play guitar and sing, it's sort of a turn on. Like it's really easy for a musician to pick up, as you know, right? Hope?
Grant?
Women like guys who play the guitar and
Should
sing,
remind
pretty much.
I mean,
As a
that
general
actually
rule.
was not. That was just. I don't know.
I'm not
no,
trying to put you on the
I
spot. I
attract
mean, that's
them.
true.
I attract
Okay.
them. I'm innocent on this front.
But not just you, but it's sort of a general rule that pop
I
stars
wouldn't
and rock stars and musicians
Sure.
are like attract women. So do you find the same thing? Do you attract men because you're up there playing?
Not really. I attract more women than I attract men.
Solid.
And women, interestingly enough, are way more bold. I've had women grab me and kiss me,
Hello.
put their hands in my shirt. And,
Alex has had the same
yeah,
problem.
I know, man.
Again, timers are unseen.
But
No love for us.
that's
Are they drunk or
the
sober?
weird
Jump
part
over
about
us
it.
to get to you.
Mostly drunk.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of neck kisses when I hug people, which
Do you think you're talking about?
in the
are you talking
wrong
about-
situation
Are you talking
is
about straight
unpleasant.
women or gay women? Are you
Probably both. I would say more straight women.
more straight women want to make out with you and kiss you and fondle you
Yeah.
at a gig? What do you put that down
It's
to?
okay to be bi in this.
I'm super proud by a woman. Come on now. But it's just a weird thing that I've noticed since I started playing out professionally.
Yeah. Do you teach this in the class? How to deal?
How to do
That should be a side
accosted.
note. When somebody grabs you, this is
Yeah.
what you do. I
But-
told them about putting my foot in a couple people's chests when I'm standing on stage and they try and touch my guitar. I've definitely
Man,
done that.
Where was I
Wow,
with my
you have to
camera?
kick people away there. That
It's just a delicate,
I mean, but if
just
I
because I
time
can't
it
use
right,
my hands, I'm playing, so
you're
I
kicking
just
people.
you just put your foot up,
So
kind of
what
like a
sort of-
dog when it's trying to jump on
what
you.
sort of a bar are you in? And what sort of a situation?
I think the last time I had to put my foot to somebody was at Blue Nile when they made their stage higher, and so there was a drunk dude who was like, "Oh, you fret the chords, I'll strum for you," and then I was like, "No, don't touch me."
And do you kick him in the face?
No, it's just
A little bit? Even just a little bit?
Good God, I wish. No, it's just an ushering out of the way. And then maybe they'll have that moment of realization where, like, somebody's foot is on my chest. I should back up.
Yeah.
Man, do you see stuff like this, Hope, when you shoot gigs?
No, I wish. I need to go to some Mia Borders.
Yeah.
Let me shoot you already.
That's
This is
why
fantastic.
I avoid Frenchman Street.
So Frenchman Street's turned into a whole
Yeah.
sort of Bourbon Street scene
It's
now.
an animal now.
I blame us. Man, I know as musicians, we would hear tourists on planes be like, "Oh, we're going to go straight to Bourbon Street. It's going to be great." And then we would be like, "Nah, you should go to Frenchman. That's where you'll
we
get
go.
the
Yeah.
authentic experience." And
Right.
We've
No.
said it enough times that...
That's what blaming ourselves is the mistake. Now, everybody knows their role. After everybody has spent the last basically 20 years saying Frenchman Street's where it's at, you can't be mad that people are there. But the problem is that the city basically just abdicated zoning entirely, and so every time anybody, it's like every time it became someone else put a bar up or did something that was out of zone, it's like, what can we do?
Yeah.
It's like you could actually sort of
Enforce.
and so we actually instead of having a bar, far more bars and have the talent watered down, because the thing was, what was great about about Frenchman Street before was that you had so many musicians with specific points of view that it wasn't for everybody.
Yeah.
That the person who just wanted the happy good time show didn't necessarily find it there, and that the points of view were far more distinctive, and the artistic statements were more distinctive, and they're still there, but they're also there next to next to basically a cover band that just simply changed the G to a C, and just made a few very minor changes to successful songs and made them into their successful songs.
Right.
Well, it's a lot about appealing to the lowest common denominator and getting bodies in the building and.
Well, everyone's making more money, supposedly.
Not us.
You're not. The musicians are not making more.
There are 2 clubs on Frenchman that will pay me a guarantee, and so they're the only places I play.
Wow. What are they? Can you say, or would you rather not?
Blue Nile and 3 Muses, Sophie Lee's spot. So she's a musician, so she takes care
She
of
knows.
us.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's good to know.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, so before we get out of here, which we have to do in a second, do you want to tell us where you're playing there, or anything where we can find you? First of all, we can find your music on Spotify and all the usual places where we can steal music from.
Yes.
And
please
the new record is called The Good Side of Bad.
Yes, that is available at MiaBorders.com, or you can come to any of my shows and get it. I imagine it'll be up on Amazon for a ridiculous markup at some point.
At some point. Where can we see you live?
April is probably my busiest month.
Okay.
So I will be at in Lafayette this Friday. I'll be at Downtown Alive, which is a good show. In New Orleans, we're doing French Quarter Fest on the 13th. I want to say 3:45 p.m.
Okay.
That's a spot. That's what
That's
I'm talking
good.
about now. And then a couple other things
And then
in
Jazz
town.
Fest.
Jazz Fest
Jazz
is
Fest, the
April
first
25th.
Thursday. The very first act on the
At
first Thursday. So you
11:15.
have
So
to
it's
be there
gonna
on
sound
time.
great.
And don't
We'll
rip
be
your,
working out some kinks.
don't rip your throat out this time.
I will try.
And
Yeah.
Alex, the podcast is called The 12 Songs of Christmas.
Yes.
And we can find it wherever podcasts are found, I see.
Yes, I'm on Apple, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. Everything's on
Right.
Spotify.
Right.
Most recent episode is with Squirrel Nut Zipper's Jimbo Mathis.
Oh, nice.
Episode before that,
Cool.
going back to 2014, I did an interview with Johnny Mathis.
Oh, my God, that's great.
And so anyway, so I'm really happy. That was really entertaining.
Yeah. Oh,
And,
cool.
and you'll appreciate this as an interviewer.
Yes.
I'm just jamming you here on time. But
That's okay.
I focused a ton on Johnny Mathis's version of Marshmallow World, and he was so polite that it wasn't until 3/4 of the way through says, I don't know why you keep talking about this song. My biggest Christmas song was Sleigh Ride. and I was real in that I had like 2 compilations that had Marshmallow World and no compilations that had Sleigh Ride.
Okay,
and not having checked Billboard, I didn't know that. But I also just loved the fact that Johnny Mathis was so polite that he humored all of my questions about the song that he barely remembered even recording.
So the final version of the podcast, did you go back and edit out your fuck-ups like that? Or
Absolutely
did you
not.
Keep them all?
Not a chance.
Good.
No. If I'm going to lead Chin first into all this and he's going to be this nice, I am not going to
So
sell
the
him out.
podcast is real.
Podcast is absolutely
Okay.
real.
All right. 12 songs of Christmas, but there's more than 12 episodes. It's just
Absolutely.
called that.
Yes.
So that's a silly title for it. You have to come up with something else. Now, 12 songs of Christmas plus round 2 or
Yeah.
something.
I should have a new volume every 12 songs.
Volume, yeah. No, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Just like everyone else's Christmas album.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
So,
volume 2. That's a great idea.
all right, I'm
Good
doing
thinking.
it.
Problem
Okay.
done.
All right.
We're here to stop
And
problems.
Hope Bird, we can see your stuff at the Gold Frame, but it's FRA like .me.
Forget the website. You guys on websites.
Don't worry about that. So
on
we-
Instagram.
Instagram,
I
okay.
guess is like the photo platform, right?
So what do you call it? The Gold Frame?
Yeah, we
Okay.
should have come up with a different name in this next happy hour.
Okay. But meantime,
help
if
me
we
out.
want to find you,
Yes.
you're the Gold Frame on Instagram. That's the best place to look. Okay.
Yes, it is.
All right. And who are you dating currently, just before we get out of here? Anybody?
I would say no one.
No one.
There's been a lot of interesting
Okay,
guitarists,
let's-
though.
Let's just say a quick thank you to Nola Pens. Look at my pen, everybody. Check that out. Have you tried that yet, Alex?
That's such a
Try
thick
that pen.
pen. I
That's
like
the
it.
only pen made from a fallen Audubon Park live oak tree.
That's a nice
It's
pen.
It is a great pen, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's a
Check
limited
that.
It's a
supply.
one-of-a-kind,
Not too
expertly
many-
crafted, limited edition writing instrument that you can get at Nola Pens,
Although,
plural.com.
I do want to know how
Check that
many
out.
pens, how many pens they get out of a tree.
He
That
said
could
these
affect
are
how much I
limited. These
care.
are
He said there's
limited,
millions of them because it was a gigantic tree that fell over in Audubon Park and nobody wanted it, and
Still a
he
finite
cut it up
amount,
and took it.
Grant.
Okay.
He said there's tons of pens for everybody.
Yo, you're super into weed. Look at
So
the-
check-
Oh my God!
Oh
Holy
my
Let's get
God,
some
that's
How
crazy.
much do you hang out at the mushroom?
Let's get some.
Thanks
let's get some
to
moonshine.
Basics on Magazine Street near Jefferson Avenue. Basics underneath sells fine lingerie, and Basics Swim and Gym has a full range of fashion swimsuits, workout, and yoga clothes with style. And at Namaste Couture, you can find one-of-a-kind natural gemstone jewelry, soulful-inspired clothes, and heart-fueled intentions. Designed by April Love. What is this? You can save 20% on all jewelry at namastecouture.com by entering Happy Hour and the coupon code Hangover Destroy is the only all-natural product medically proven to prevent a hangover. If you go to hdestroyer.com and you write Happy Hour on the coupon code, you'll get 30% off of Hangover Destroyer. And the Positive Vibrations Foundations create and encourage community through the development and preservation of the arts, music, culture, and heritage. And at patreon.com, you can search for It's New Orleans Happy Hour and become a member of our Patreon family for as little as $1 a month and get free and exclusive stuff from us here at Happy Hour. Alex Rawls, Mia Borders, and Hope Bird, thank you so much for joining me. That
for
has
having
been
us.
Happy
Thanks
Hour
for having us.
for another week. Our show is produced by Graham DePonte. Our associate producer is April Stolf. Monique Pyle and Christian Unruh, our music producers, and Thomas Walsh is our technical director. Did I say that correctly? It's Thomas Walsh. Asher Griffith is our Facebook live feed director. You can see this whole
saying
thing
again.
on Facebook, on our It's New Orleans Facebook page. Our fact checker and social media connector is Andrew Sirak. Sirak, our theme music was written by and is currently being played by Mitch Foreman. If you'd like to be on our show and you can stay upright for about 60 minutes while drinking alcohol, drop us a line. Our address is on our website, itsneworleans.com. You can also check out many other happy hours we've made here, as well as other shows we make, like Out to Lunch with Peter Asciuti live from Commander's Palace, Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tucker, and our award-winning podcast about death called Death the Podcast. You can find other great Louisiana podcasts too at itsacadiana.com and itsbatonrouge.la. We should put the Christmas thing on itsneworleans.com.
Let's talk about
Good thinking. Keep up with us on a bunch of time-sucking social media like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. On all of it, we're called It's New Orleans. You can find photos from this show on itsneworleans.com and on our It's New Orleans Facebook page and on our Instagram account. These photos were taken by Jill LaFleur. You can find more of Jill's photos at lafleurphoto.com. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app, thanks for subscribing to us. Take a moment, if you've got one, to rate and review us. That helps other people find us. If you're listening to us on Spotify, you can follow us and get Happy Hour delivered each week. This show is recorded live today at Wayfair on Ferret Street, Uptown New Orleans. Happy Hour is a production of INO Broadcasting. For itsneworleans.com, for Andrew Duhon, who's not here but who's out on the road somewhere, you can find him at andrewduhon.com. Everyone else around the table here at Wayfair and back at our office at INO Broadcasting, I'm Grant Morris. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here next week for more Happy Hour. Okay, everybody. Nice job.
Technology Truths, brought to you by Geico.
Technology Truths.
Truth. Teenagers can communicate entirely in emojis.
How was the birthday party? Pizza slice, kitten, soccer ball, pineapple?
Truth. It's so easy to switch and save on car insurance at geico.com.
What are you talking about? Paperclip, shoulder shrug, high five, wizard hat? What?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.